Hey everyone, NPCarlsson here. So I'm just going to do a short little update thing. Well, I don't know if it's actually going to be short. A little update video talking about recent things that have happened and how that's going to affect videos upcoming and, what you can expect. Originally, the video that was supposed to take this slot was going to be my ranking every Crash Bandicoot soundtrack video. Unfortunately, I haven't actually had the time to sit down and record that due to stuff going on in personal life. I'm not going to get into specifics or anything, but we're kind of changing some things around home-wise, and so until that's all settled down, it's going to be a bit difficult to find a long period of time to actually sit down and record that video. So I'm going to have to push that back until I don't know, July, maybe August. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see how it goes. But thankfully, what I actually have had the time to record is part 2 of Psychonauts. So that's pretty good. By the way, thank you everyone for the great response to the first part. A lot of people really enjoyed that. A lot of people really looking forward to me playing the rest of the series. And I'm a lot more confident with it. Because I think I spoke about this a couple of years ago when I was doing my Mind Over Mutant series. I was sort of going into it with that mentality of I don't think this is going to be as good as Ratchet and Clank. So I sort of lacked a bit of motivation because I didn't really have the confidence in the series. But actually, I'm ended up being really proud of that Mind Over Mutant series. I really like that series. I think actually it might even be a little bit better than the Ratchet and Clank one. It was definitely a more concise, complete package, and it didn't take 5 years. So going into Psychonauts, I'm definitely a lot more confident doing this kind of edited Let's Play series, and I think that's really helped. That's really given me more motivation to keep going with it, and I want to sit down and play more. I want to edit more. And so I have been able to record part 2 already. I said at the end of part 1 that I thought it would be a few months before part 2 will come out, but hopefully, if all goes to plan, I should be able to get this second part out in probably first week of June. So not long at all. In fact, when this video comes out, I'll probably be in the midst of editing it already. So maybe if you stick around at the end, I might show a clip, a little teaser for that. Speaking of the first week of June, Deltarune Chapter 3 and 4 are coming out. That's really, really cool. I'm really looking forward to that. Switch 2 is also coming out, but I don't really care about that. I mean, I've only had a Switch 1 for 5 months, so I'm not too bothered. I'm not getting one. But Deltarune, I'm really looking forward to, so that's probably going to be taking up a lot of my free time in June. But that, of course, doesn't mean that there won't be videos in June, because Rash Cream Tumble 5, the 5th and final episode, the mega compilation, that will be out on June 20th as planned. This video should come out on May 13th, so you've got 2.5 weeks left to submit a funny clip if you want it featured in that video. I'm not guaranteeing it will be featured. I'm just saying, that's the deadline, the start of June 1st, and then that's it. That's it forever. That will be it. That will be for the 5th and final episode, and like I said, it will be a mega compilation of the first 4 episodes with a load of new clips in there as well. So it'll be a pretty long video. But even before then, there should be something else out later this month. Just a small little thing. It was actually something that I made years ago, and it's actually in one of my videos that is already on my channel. And a couple of you asked, can I find this anywhere? And I never actually gave it its own full upload, so I'm going to be doing that. I've extended it slightly from what it is in the original video, but it's just a short little music thing. So that should be coming out near the end of May. So yeah, lots of good stuff coming. But now I want to talk a little bit about the video that I released at the start of this month, the YouTube poop, 5 miles to Ganon. I just want to talk a little bit about this because the reaction that it got kind of took me by surprise. I wasn't really expecting it. For those of you who haven't watched it, basically it was sort of like a semi-remake of a video that I made nearly 10 years ago now, called Guo and Link's 2-hour carpet journey. And it was just a short little thing where I took some audio from a scene in the Mighty Boosh and I just kind of parodied it with Guanom and Link. It's not really very good. I don't really like that video. The editing is really shoddy. I said in the 10-year anniversary video last year that if any of my YouTube poops deserved a remaster, it would be that one. And I said maybe I'd just do the same thing, but just with, higher quality visuals. But actually, I sort of realized, I could just remake the whole thing. And I decided to add a little bit at the start, add a little bit at the end. And I sort of did the main chunk of it in a different way. Instead of just using the audio from Mighty Boosh, I used an AI voice changer program to make the characters sound kind of like Guanom and Link. I mean, they sort of don't really because they have completely different accents. But, I kind of thought that was funny. So basically what I did is I built like 2 separate voice models and fed them all the dialogue from both Ganon and Link. And then I ran the audio through both of them, and then I edited the results, and I added a little bit of sentence mixing on top of that to make it make sense. Because I just thought it would just feel a bit more consistent for them to kind of keep their voices, even if they don't keep their dialects, they sort of keep their voices, and then it would help the sentence mixing sound a lot smoother as well. Because I thought if I just sentence mix the whole thing, then it's going to lose a lot. It's going to lose a lot of that like intonation from the original scene from Mighty Boosh, which I think is a lot of what makes that scene funny. It's not just the words they're saying, it's how the actors are performing that. So that was my mentality going into that. But, you know, I'm not stupid. I sort of expected that there would be some criticism towards it because of the fact that it's AI. And a lot of people have a very firm negative stance on AI. Any type of AI. It doesn't really matter if it's like generative AI or not. And, you know, that is a stance that I fully understand. I do. Because if you look at how AI is being used a lot nowadays and how it's being used to exploit people and, you know, take jobs away from people and steal artwork from people, you know, it's not good. So I can understand people having that firm, like, no, all AI is bad mentality. I don't agree with it, but I can understand it, you know. So even while I was making this video, I sort of knew in the back of my mind that, like, yeah, when I publish this, there's going to be some negative reaction to it. But to my surprise, there really wasn't much at all. Because you guys are pretty awesome, and you're very mature, and you understand that in this instance, it's sort of, you could see my way of thinking and how I thought it would make sense. And you were all like really supportive about it, and you said like, yeah, it worked, and it was fine, and I didn't mind that it was AI. I mean, obviously, yeah, there were a few people who weren't happy, but, you know, I was expecting that. What I wasn't expecting was the overwhelmingly positive reaction. So I just want to say, like, thank you for that. You guys are like, just like the best audience. I don't know why I have this sort of feeling that whenever I upload something, it's not going to be well received. And then it almost always is. Like, I really rarely get negative feedback at all. You guys are just the best. You really are. I'm probably not going to do anything like that again. Not because of the slight negative reaction to it, but because, you know, I don't really see any opportunity in the future where that would, again, make sense to do. But, you know, I'm not going to say never. We'll just see, but probably not. But to the few people who did have a negative response to it, well, I've got 3 pieces of good news for you. The first one is there is a version without AI. I made it nearly 10 years ago. You can go watch that. I think it's worse, but, you know, if you're firmly against all AI, then there's a version without it. There you go. But the second piece of good news, and this is probably good news for a lot of people, is that I have already started planning my next YouTube poop. It's in very early stages, like I haven't really done anything yet. I've just sort of got the idea, and it's going to be a Doctor Who YouTube poop. I know I've used Doctor Who in the past, but, you know, I love the show. And I have a lot of ideas built up in my head, and I've sort of been doing a few little edits here and there of various episodes. You've probably seen some of them in my Twitter compilations. And originally I was just thinking, well, why don't I just do like a big Doctor Who YouTube poop that's sort of like a clip show, and I can just do little edits of different episodes and just put them all into one thing, and I can use some of the stuff that I did in the Twitter compilations in that. But then I started coming up with multiple ideas from the same episode, and then I just sort of thought, actually, why don't I just do it all on this one episode? I'm not going to say what episode it is, but it's an episode that I think is going to lend itself very well to being YouTube pooped. But yeah, that's not going to be out for quite a while. Maybe August. I don't know. We'll see. But it's not going to be for a little while. And the third piece of good news is if you're craving some more CDI stuff, then I do have an idea for a CDI-based video. It's not exactly a YouTube poop, but it's something that I think is going to be really fun to do. It's something that I'm really surprised no one has done already. Because I thought about the idea randomly one day, and I thought, I bet someone's done that. I looked it up, and I couldn't find anything. I don't think anyone's attempted this before, so I'm going to do it. That will be before the Doctor Who YTP, probably. But again, I'm not sure when. 2-3 months, I don't know, something like that. So yeah, there's quite a lot in the works at the moment. So, you know, I thought, yeah, actually it makes sense to do this update video and talk about all the things that I've got coming up soon. So just to recap, we'll have a small little music thing at the end of this month. First week of June probably will be Psychonauts Part 2. June 20th will be Rash Cream Tumble 5. Sometime after that will be the CDI video and then sometime after that will be the Doctor Who YouTube poop, and somewhere in there we'll eventually get around to doing the ranking all the Crash Bandicoot soundtracks video. But yeah, so thank you all for listening, and goodbye. And now I'll leave you with a small little tease of Psychonauts Part 2. Here we go. Yep. Woo! Oh, I can move. Whoa! I has been. Oh, you don't understand what you've just unleashed, game, letting me do this. Here you go, buddy. Here's a present for you.
You, new boy, seen bear lurking in woods?
Nope.
He's just talking to a bit.
This one, hide and run.
I'll let you know if I see anything.
I don't know. I think you're talking rubbish, mate.